Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. So we can see here, ICP, a big letdown. It's actually performing its descending trend here as expected if Bitcoin were to have lost that support level, which it did. Okay, so again, Bitcoin's on its way down. ICP probably going to continue lower based on that simple sentiment and a lot of reasons why we may want to consider closing our long position. While we did have a nice little bull flag breakout here, it was short-lived. Unfortunately, didn't come back down to retest that support at about 850. So we're going to look at some alternatives here and kind of just get some perspective on what's going on and just look at this abstractly with no bias whatsoever. Because again, when you are trading, it's important to recognize that you are your own worst enemy. So let's not get in our heads about being stuck in a direction. Heaven forbid we got to close along. It's just kind of part of it. Okay, that's how it goes. Good news is, statistically, I think we're about like 85% on ICP this year. So whatever, it happens sometimes when you miss some opportunities. Let's take a look here at liquidation levels and just kind of go from there. First of all, 7 days on the left, 30 on the right. We can see here in the last 7 days, lower area of liquidation about 780, 790 has been swept. There's still a little bit left here, about 760, 765. Keep in mind we have a nice little support range at 750. Losing 750 would effectively, invalidate any potential for further upside. However, there's still a good chance we're still going to be able to see some maintaining range here in this level, just based on a lot of other supporting factors, which we'll get into in a minute. We take a look at the larger picture, though. As per usual, we see heavy liquidation below the most recent low. Okay, so we got that about 650 right there at that range. Again, that's another reason why closing below that would be an invalidation. But a lot of times you'll see just candle wicks to those areas, sweep that liquidity, and Bob's your uncle, price turns right back around. So it wouldn't be surprised when we get closer to that 650 range, we can see a sweep, but that's a long ways away. That is lower or below this most recent low. Keep that in mind. All right, so that's kind of where we're at there as kind of a foundational background to understanding what's going on here. Let's double check a few things. Let's start with the weekly and work our way down and just kind of see where we're at in the big picture. So we're going to look at some SMAs here just to quickly understand that we are below all SMAs. Still not a great place. Correction, I'm sorry. The 100-day SMA is below the price action, which is unique. Most coins actually have the 100-day above and the others below, where we kind of see the inverse here. It doesn't necessarily mean it's better or worse. It just implies that we're still below the 20 and the 50. In my personal opinion, those are more important indications of what side of the tracks you're on. So we're still quote unquote bearish in this coin, even though we had a pretty solid week last week. It is definitely a situation where we can expect the price to, continue to maintain this range until it breaks free from that descending trend. And if you kind of see here, it looks like there is somewhat of a descending trend, right? While it's not perfect, we got this like lower high pattern here. And until we break free from that, there's really no consideration for a crazy long at this point. I get it. I recognize ICP is definitely a strong coin, and there's the good chance that it'll continue further up at some point. But it's we got to be realistic too. Okay, so take a look here at this point. We're under 50 on the RSI on the weekly. Generally, that's construed as not so much of a bullish sign. However, we do have good bullish momentum here. We're still with the MACD here converging. Stochastic is swinging up, and we've also got our TSI getting closer to zero. When you cross that zero threshold and you get a convergence on the MACD, that's when great things happen. And I think we're right on the verge. I think we're really close to that happening. So again, while we're still mostly bearish in the overall sense, just from a bird's eye view here, there's a lot of momentous indicators kind of letting us know that we have a good chance at continuing further up. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and draw this trend line out a little cleaner here. And I'll post our playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord too. Future reference, you're not familiar, it looks a little something like this, where I just post potential playouts of coins that I'm covering. Kind of just a quick synopsis on what I review in our videos here. But it's important to recognize we do still have liquidation on the upside, but let's not blindly attach ourselves to that. That's not necessarily, price doesn't always go right to those levels right away. And over time, I think it does, but at this point, we want to just kind of be mindful and patient. So having said that, we are above all moving averages minus the 100. This is kind of a bit of a shift in momentum, but to me personally, being above the 20 and the 50 on the daily is important. So I would say losing that 780 range could be problematic, but once more, we got a decent amount of support here at this golden pocket at about 760. So to me, 760 seems like a solid pivot point if the price continues much lower. But again, you can never guarantee that, of course, right? What we can guarantee is that RSI is staying above 50 for the moment. So closing at $8 or higher today, I think is really important. Maybe if we close below 8 today, it may be a consideration to close the long. Again, we have a long position open while we secured a lot of profit this month. ICP is one of those coins that's been kind of a hit or miss lately. And the truth is right now, we are confirming that a lot of momentum is moving down, but we're also confirming above specific key levels, right? TSI is doing well. MACD hasn't fully diverged yet. While we have a stochastic divergence, most of the market is diverging, and we've seen ICP pull back a significant amount to fill its more recent fair value gap here. And if you take a look here, in fact, zoom in, this is what I was talking about a couple days ago, that this lower price point of 780 makes sense. And once that's been filled, we should be able to see a price recovery. Now, again, a lot is pending on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin continues lower, this doesn't matter, okay? However, if Bitcoin bottoms out and just slowly starts progressing sideways or up, we will see ICP recover quite quickly, just based on the fact that there's all this value from this one strong green day last Tuesday, roughly a week ago, has since been filled. Generally, when that is filled, there's less merit for the price pushing itself down further for the market makers, and there's more likelihood of the price going to bounce. Again, that in combination with us being over 50 on the RSI, not having broken bearish yet, leads me to believe we're still in good shape. 4-hour time frame, let's see what that looks like here. We've lost the 20 and the 20 and the 50-day SMA. Those are not good things. I don't like to be in that position, but being above the 200 is nice. Most coins have the 200-day SMA above the price action, and that's a bad thing. We do have some supporting factors there. So some confluence in the 760 to 780 range, as we've kind of seen here so far with that fair value gap getting filled. We have this nice little area here, which I like to see when the RSI gets closer to 30 and the money flow index gets closer to 20. It's usually a good sign, good pivot point for the price action to turn around and start to rally. Again, it's usually a short rally, sometimes in most cases a relief rally. But at this point, if we take a look at overextension, we've hit our 9 on TD sequential, and it is a decent probability we're going to see the price recover here soon. I don't expect a monumental recovery. In fact, what I expect is Bitcoin to retest its 58.5, 58.7, 58.5 to 58.4, 58.3, right in that range, and then potentially pull back further, okay? That's where I'm looking for a consideration for a short. So if ICP essentially follows suit, we'll see a closure somewhere in the 820, 840 range, and potentially even lower from there. So just know that's a possibility here. There's not a lot of signs here in the 4-hour telling us the price is going to instantly recover. We got some consolation, but more so bearish divergences. So what we want to pay attention to next is the hourly and just kind of see what that looks like here. Because once again, the hourly time frame is a very good indication of where things are going to go more immediately, right? And if we see here, everything is pointing down. There's no reason to consider a long position right now. Okay? So that in combination with the overextension here, we're at about a 5 so far. If we continue to bottom out, we may see a pullback here. And I mean pull back to the upside here. Again, a lot of it hinges on Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin going to continue lower or is it going to continue higher? Really, that's what it boils down to. Me personally, I think we're going to see a short-term relief from Bitcoin up to the 58.5 range, and probably a dump from there later in the week when we have our wonderful our wonderful Fed meeting. So again, some interesting stuff here, but I don't think ICP is out of the race just yet. The macro still looks decent. I'm not going to say it looks good, but we haven't fully invalidated yet. So again, if you're one of those holders and you're an ICP, it's worth considering holding on longer. Because again, if you took my trade, you didn't take a high leverage or a high position trade, right? You took a low leverage, low position size because it was a high risk trade. Right? You got to remember that. The higher the risk, the less risk you should put on yourself. And that's where good risk tolerances come into play. And that's where good traders start to excel. Again, those are all things I teach in my Trading Academy, Community Signals group, link down below for that if you're curious. CryptoCache.tech is a website. And don't forget to join us over at BTCC. I always recommend a secondary exchange to Bitunix because while they're awesome, you should always diversify your portfolios. Swing trading on one, day trading on another, okay? Never swing trade and day trade on the same portfolio. It's like mixing a checking and savings account. It's kind of like, what's the point? You're going to be spending money that you're trying to save. It doesn't make any sense. Anyways, that's kind of how that works. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I hope you have a good rest of your day either way. Thanks again so much for your time. Take care.